Greetings, agents. This is Private Boulders, the mediocre gamer, and this is the Division 2. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you taking the time to watch my content. If you find it helpful or useful, please consider subscribing and or liking so that I can hopefully make more videos. I hope today finds you well. The topic of today's video is a skill build that utilizes the OXIDIZER chem launcher. This is kind of a niche skill, but it's also very powerful for dealing with groups of hostiles. Um, it's okay as a solo build, but it's probably better to use in a team. And it does help if you know the location of where enemies or hostiles are spawning from. As the closer the enemies are together, the more effective this will be. Because basically what it does, the oxidizer does, is it launches like a cloud, and that cloud um, damages enemy armor and health over time. So if you can get enemies grouped together within the cloud, it will basically damage all of them over time, and then allowing you to hopefully not be left with much to clean up at the end. It is one of the few skills where damage to armor and damage to targets out of cover um, apply as a basically as a additional multiplier of damage, I guess. So as you can see there on this little chart, a lot of skills have damage to armor, but only two have damage to targets out of cover with them. So it's helpful if you can use gear and weapons that have both damage to armor and damage to targets out of cover to increase the effectiveness of this chemical launcher. The build I'm going to show you, which is what I'm using in the footage, is basically well, we'll start off with the specialization. So I'm running Technician. There's a couple of reasons why I'm running Technician. The first one is that Technician gives us +1 skill tier. So that frees up one piece of your gear to either run as a weapon core or an armor core, depending on how you like to set it up. We also get plus 10% skill damage, and we also get access to the Artificer Hive. And don't forget, whatever primary and secondary weapons you are running, to make sure that your passive talent is upgraded so that you're getting an extra 15% damage. Alright, so onto the build. First of all, I'm running 3 pieces of Empress. So Empress gives us plus 10% skill health, plus 10% skill damage, and 8% skill efficiency. So skill efficiency gives us 8% skill damage, skill haste, skill duration, skill health, repair skills, and status effects. So the main three, I guess, that are relevant to this build are the damage, haste, and duration, which come in handy. I'm running glass cannon, so 25% of all the damage I deal is amplified. Obviously, just be aware that all damage you take is amplified by 50%, so you're a little bit squishy, so just make sure you stay in cover. Everything is rolled to skill damage and skill haste, and mods are skill duration. The backpack I am running is one piece. Well, it's only one piece because it's only a backpack. So it's Wyvern. That does give us 8% skill damage, and I'm running tech support. So skill kills increase total skill damage by 25% for 25 seconds. So once again, that helps us with the effectiveness of the oxidizer. And once again, everything is rolled to skill haste and skill damage. The mod slot is skill duration. For the final two pieces, I am running Fox's Prayer knee pads, and they are rolled to a skill tier. They come with damage to targets out of cover, 8%. Make sure that if you're going to run Fox's Prayer knee pads that you have skill damage rolled to these, otherwise it's not going to be worth it. And I'm also running Contractor's Gloves, which give us 8% damage to armor. I've gone with a weapon core for this particular one. So I'm still at 6 skill tiers because running Technician gives us 1 extra skill tier. So this just means I'm doing a little bit of extra damage with whatever weapon I'm carrying. And I've recalibrated that for skill damage. So make sure you are running, if you are choosing to run these two pieces, make sure that both of them are running skill damage. If not, you could possibly run something else, like maybe 2 pieces of Hana Yu, or if you're only running 1 piece of this, you could maybe run 1 piece of Murakami or something like that. It just depends on what kind of pieces you've got going, but it's not overly difficult to farm Fox's Prayers or Contractors in this configuration, but see how you go. So if we have a look at the Oxidizer chem launcher now, so it's a canister that releases a cloud of corrosive gas that damages enemy armor, skill proxies, and causes damage over time. So at skill tier 6, you'll have 7 charges with a cooldown of 15 seconds. The cloud radius is about 4 meters with a duration of 17 seconds, and you're looking at about 180,000 points of damage per tick. So that's pretty good. I'm also running the Artificer Hive. So this is really good if you're running in a group or solo. So basically it sends out electro booster drones that expend themselves to increase allied skill efficiency and refresh their duration. And it periodically releases a drone whilst holstered. This drone only affects your skills. So if you're running this in a group, just remember to deploy it in a vicinity where it's going to benefit from any other skills that your teammates are running. Or if you're just running it solo, you can just keep it holstered and it will buff your skills periodically. So at skill tier 6, we get a 1.7 second refill speed, we get 32 charges, a 12 meter range, 292 second duration, 5 million health, 71% buff, 10% buff duration, 82% skill repair, and 15-second skill refresh. So that works really well with the Oxidizer. For the weapons, so I am running a shotgun as my primary weapon, mainly because shotguns come with damage to armor, and you can also have the third attribute rolled to damage to targets out of cover, so that will increase the effectiveness of your Oxidizer cloud, having damage to armor and damage to targets out of cover. This shotgun I've also rolled to InSync, so hitting an enemy grants 15% skill damage for 5 seconds, and then using a non-shield skill or damaging an enemy with a skill grants 15% weapon damage for 5 seconds. So if both buffs are active at the same time, the damage increases are doubled. So just remember that when you deploy or you fire the Oxidizer canister, just to have the shotgun, and it doesn't matter what shotgun you run, it's personal preference, but I would suggest you run it with damage to armor and damage to targets out of cover, just to increase the effectiveness. Whenever you launch your Oxidizer cloud, make sure that you are holding your shotgun so that you're getting that extra damage to armor and damage to targets out of cover damage applied to your cloud. and that will increase the effectiveness of it. You could also run Harmony, the named rifle, or Test Subject, the named assault rifle. They come with perfectly in sync. Um, they won't come with damage to armor, but you could probably either roll them to damage to armor or damage to targets out of cover. You won't have both, but the that's why we suggest running a shotgun, as you can have both damage to armor and damage to targets out of cover. If you run the Harmony or the Test Subject, you can choose one, basically, depending on how it drops for you. But there it is. That's a build. Um, I'm not great at it. There was quite a few times where I died, which is um, par for the course for me, being a mediocre gamer. But I'm keen to hear what your thoughts are, or if you have any feedback about this build, or any questions or anything like that, please leave them in the comments. And once again, I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you find this build helpful. If you do, please consider liking and or subscribing. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And until next time, stay safe out there, agents, and take care.